Good morning, Canada. Happy Tuesday. Let's get one thing straight right off the top this morning. This isn't complicated. This isn't about ideology. This is about 200,000 Canadian workers, farmers, truckers, mill operators, exporters who are getting absolutely crushed under the weight of a trade war Canada didn't start and does not need to prolong. And yet, while Beijing literally puts a deal on the table, a clean trade off, a straightforward diplomatic opening, Mark Carney's Liberal government sits on its hands again, wrapped up in the political optics of trying to stand strong here on EVs rather than acting smart. Here's the truth: China has said on the record that if Canada drops its 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles, they'll drop the canola and pork tariffs in return. That's not even speculation. Their ambassador literally said it. That's a direct offer confirmed by the Chinese ambassador himself on national television. So, why is Ottawa stalling on this, especially when we know that this could be an easy win for Canadians? Why are we letting farmers bleed while politicians posture? Let's go.
Welcome to Bakes on Things.
Welcome back to Bakes on Things. I'm Chris Baker. It's the first sip. I hope you had a great long weekend. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, join the conversation down below. Let's talk the numbers, because the numbers don't lie, do they? Saskatchewan's exports to China dropped 76% in August compared to the same month last year. 76! That's a collapse. That's not just a drop. That's not a fluctuation. And 60% of that trade, it's food. Grain, canola, real Canadian products, the lifeblood of prairie economies. Every month, this government continues to hesitate. Farmers lose contracts, processors lose shifts, and rural towns lose their future. Beijing's tariff on canola, roughly about 76% or so, means Canadian producers are essentially locked out of one of their biggest markets. These are farmers who played by the rules. They passed inspections, they shipped clean product, and now they're being punished because Ottawa wants to look tough in front of Washington. But why? This doesn't even mean anything for Donald Trump. He's not even watching. But let's call it what it is. Our government is defending tariffs on cars we don't even make, while sacrificing crops that we actually do make. Where is the logic in all of that? It makes no sense whatsoever. And here we now have this offer on the table. Here's what's truly absurd. Canada's 100% tariff on Chinese-made electric vehicles was imposed in lockstep with the United States, supposedly to protect the domestic auto industry. Now, I know this is the card Carney thinks he's playing here, but let's ask an honest question. What domestic EV industry are we protecting? What are we protecting exactly? See, China's EVs barely exist in our market as it is today, even before the tariffs. Canada hasn't even opened the door to it. The tariff isn't shielding Canadian workers from competition, it's shielding politicians from criticism. That's what it's doing. It's symbolic at best. It is not strategic whatsoever. And while that symbolic gesture plays out, we're watching hundreds of millions of dollars in agricultural trade completely evaporate. You want to talk about protecting Canadian jobs? Let's talk about the prairie farmers who built this entire country's export reputation, the ones truly suffering right now. Let's talk about Manitoba's processors, Saskatchewan's truckers, Alberta's grain terminals, all getting squeezed for a trade war that protects no one in Windsor and nothing in Oshawa. Nothing whatsoever, because they weren't here in the first place. So what are we protecting here? And this is the thing. The premiers of those provinces, they do seem to get it, but Ottawa doesn't. Look at the provinces, for example. They're not confused about what's going on here. Manitoba's Wab Kinew is begging Ottawa to seize this opportunity, to take advantage of this offer. Saskatchewan's Scott Moe has literally flown to China to push for a resolution and now has one potentially on the table. Alberta's Danielle Smith has backed the exact same approach. The premiers are doing more than the prime minister. Even though these premiers don't agree on much else, they all know one thing. Our farmers have run out of time. Meanwhile, Mark Carney and Francois-Philippe Champagne, who screeches everything out that he ever says, say a review is underway. A review? Into what? Whether saving 200,000 Canadian jobs is politically convenient for the next time you have to win votes? Is that what you're reviewing? Because nothing else makes sense. This government moves at lightning speed when it comes to new spending announcements, media grants, or pet green subsidies. But when it comes to actually defending Canadian producers, it suddenly needs a committee, a consultation, and 6 months of bureaucratic fog to blur out whether we can see the real story or not. And that's likely the point here. But the stakes are high for the prairies. Why can't we care for the West for once? Let's get real about what's truly at stake here, because guess what? We are a country from east to west and west to east. If this trade blockade drags on, it doesn't just mean lost contracts. It means lost trust. China doesn't need Canadian canola. They can buy that from Australia, Brazil, or Russia. Once these supply lines solidify, Canada doesn't just lose a season, it loses a market. For good. The time is of the essence. We need to act on this now, and it's not just about China, by the way. When other countries see Canada unable to manage its own bilateral relationships without taking orders from Washington, we lose leverage everywhere in the world, not just in China. We become the junior partner, not just in defense and trade, but in diplomacy itself. And we set ourselves up to take a giant step backwards when we already took a decade step backwards most recently. This isn't strength. It's strategic paralysis big time. This is the political theater of standing strong right now is ridiculous. Now, some will say, of course, that you can already hear it from Doug Ford and maybe even Pierre Poilievre that we must keep the tariffs to protect Ontario's auto sector. But Pierre's not saying that anymore. And even if he did, I get it. Ontario's auto jobs do matter deeply. Nobody's trying to take auto jobs from Ontario. Even Doug Ford has pulled back on his messaging around this because we need to do something. But right now, these tariffs aren't protecting a single assembly line in Windsor or Oakville because Chinese EVs aren't even being sold here in meaningful numbers. This isn't about safeguarding existing jobs. It's about safeguarding future votes, and that's exactly what this Liberal Party is trying to do. Meanwhile, the West is being told to take one for the team. Just hold on. We'll see if we can figure this out at some point in the future. Farmers are being told to hang tight, and the federal government is pretending that losing billions in agricultural exports is some kind of noble sacrifice for a moral principle no one in Ottawa can even articulate to us in any kind of news conference or even press release. So let me be blunt here. You don't starve your farmers to feed your politics. We've been given an offer that's been put on the table to say, hey, if you'll drop this, we'll drop this. And why wouldn't we take it at this point? Even the United States, which started this tariff frenzy in the first place, is already showing signs of softening behind closed doors in areas where they know that they need to protect American workers. American automakers are struggling with EV adoption. They need parts, batteries, and rare earth materials from guess where? China. And they've realized that, and they've convinced Donald Trump of that. Meanwhile, here in Canada, the junior partner is left holding the ideological bag again, losing trade leverage, losing farmers, and gaining nothing in return. We really used to be a trading nation that could balance our relationships, but all of that seems to be gone at this point under the Liberal government. Now, we're a country afraid to move unless Washington gives us the okay. What's elbows up about that, Mark? What's tough about that? That's not leadership. That's just dependency on the United States and admitting that that's what we're stuck with. That's what it is. This is what smart trade looks like. Let me give you this. drop the 100% EV tariff. Okay? Just drop it. Get rid of it. Out the door. Let's make them happy on that one. Okay? Then secure the immediate removal of the 76% canola tariff as well. Make ourselves and our farmers and our workers happy. Protect our agricultural exports without compromising our values or our industries. We can do this fairly surgically with safeguards in place. It doesn't have to be one for one here. There can be reciprocity clauses with national security carve-outs as well. But we do have to do this now, not in another 6 months and not after a 6-month review. As international trade lawyer Mark Warner said this week, we are asking farmers to take one in the teeth over and over and over again for something that doesn't even exist yet. There is no EV market from China yet. That's not policy, it's just pure, utter negligence. And Ottawa must act fast, and they must act now. Prime Minister Mark Carney, this is not a photo op moment, my friend. This is a defining leadership test for you if you're going to do anything as Prime Minister. We haven't seen you do much. The Chinese ambassador has given you a clear signal here. The premiers have lined up in agreement. The data is collapsing in real time. The foreign minister is literally in Asia right now. If there was ever a moment to show that you understand both economics and diplomacy, now is that time. Drop the EV tariffs, save the canola, defend all the farmers, and do what's right for the nation. Not what looks good in a press release, and not what's going to buy you necessarily future votes. Although I think that all these farmers and Canadian workers would probably be pretty happy with you. Because when prairie farmers can't sell their crops, when grain elevators go quiet, when small towns start losing their tax base, it's not just a Western problem anymore. It's a Canadian problem. And this country feeds the world. We have for many years now. It deserves a government that can at least feed its own sense of reason. Mr. Carney, you said Canada was open for business. Now prove it. Make us open for business. Do this deal and do it now. Thanks for watching Bakes on Things. The first sip. Your week is kicked off here on a Tuesday. It's a short week. You should be excited about that. We'll be back this evening with the last word. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, join the conversation down below. Is it time to drop these tariffs, or do you disagree with me? By the way, that's okay if you do. And liberals, you don't have to get insulting in the comments. You can just make an argument, a counter argument. I'm happy to hear it. But do all of that in the comments. And of course, we will see you this evening.